My name is Joe Murray, and my grandfather was Patrick Rankin, probably better known as Paddy Rankin.
My name is Patsy O'Halloran, Patricia, and my father's name was Patrick Rankin.
He went to Canada in April 1913. I think he found Toronto a bit Puritan, and the idea that you couldn't play any games on a Sunday. So he decided then he would move to Philadelphia. He joined the National Guards, and he tried to get some of his colleagues to join with him. He trained with them possibly a couple of nights a week and at weekends, and he also managed to gather something like 600 rounds of Springfield rifle bullets and secreted them away. Those bullets actually ended up in the bottom of the canal in Uri. They were the wrong caliber, weren't suitable, so they had to be dumped. There was no point in trying to hang on to these bullets, you know. So after all his effort getting them from New York to Liverpool to Newry, they did end up in the canal.
No, I couldn't imagine him buying guns to shoot people. I couldn't. But it was only years after that we heard about him going to Canada.
How they got to know about the rising itself was this coded message from Padraig Pearse, which, if I remember right, was the butter will be delivered on the 24th, signed P.H. Pearse. That's James Bond stuff, isn't it? So he got up early on Tuesday morning and jumped on his bicycle, and he cycled down to Dublin. He got into the GPO, and he remembers that it was a Leo Henderson who gave Patrick a Lee Enfield rifle and rounds of ammunition. Now, to be getting a Lee Enfield rifle was good, because a lot of them had these single shot Mausers and shotguns. So Patrick must have been able to convince him of his capabilities with a weapon to be given a precious rifle like that. He also mentions at 1 o'clock in the morning, he stuck his head between the balustrades, and a bullet flew between his ear and his Dublin companions. It could easily have been his demise at that moment, but anyway, he lived through the night, and he mentions the fact that early the next morning, this would be on the Thursday, they started work bringing bags of coal from the yard and the GPO and stacking them about 15 feet back from the front of the GPO. They spent hours piling these up, and then the enemy started using artillery on them, so it was necessary to undo all that work, bring all this coal back out of the building and put them back in the yard. They were in actual fact hoping that the British would attack them, do a frontal attack, a sort of Alamo situation, which the British weren't prepared to do that. It would have been pure slaughter.
I never knew he was involved in the Easter Rising. I never associated him with anything mean or anything like that.
He must have knew that he was, I used the term Alamo, he was getting himself into an Alamo-like situation where victory was impossible. So I'm sure the thought must have went through his mind that I'm not going to get out of this alive. Patrick describes their move from Henry Street and moving up Moore Street. A young man in uniform is passing them by, and the young man cries out, "Oh my God!" And Patrick grabs this young fellow and eases him down onto the footpath, but he said he was dead, shot through the head. Patrick said he whispered a prayer in his ear, and he felt that this young fella had been picked out, singled out by the sniper because he was wearing a uniform. Patrick reckons that it could have been easily him. He said then early afternoon, one of their leaders ordered them to come out and surrender. Anyway, they were all crammed onto into this boat, and they sailed for England. When they arrived in England, they got on a train to Stafford Prison. He describes the meals while in solitary confinement. The horse meat was so tough that they used to, in the mornings, the prisoners would fire the pieces of horse meat at one another for a bit of a lark. They were all taken from there and put on a train and taken to Frongok. He said he was in Frongok for possibly till about the end of August. Then most of them were released, and he made his way back to Newry.
Yeah, I was about 35 when my father passed away. At his funeral, we went up to Newry with him, and there was a guard of honour in the GPO. It was a great crowd there from Dublin and everywhere else.
I would like him just to be remembered in some way. I don't know how it can be manifest itself in a physical way, that he cycled from Newry to Dublin to take part in the 1916 Rising.
He loved Ireland. He loved everything, nature. I couldn't imagine him buying guns to shoot people. I couldn't. He couldn't kill a fly. No, he wouldn't.
He didn't hate his enemy. He loved his country. And that's why he did what he did.